laws have to change to prevent global warming. He says the spread of guns violates the church's pro-life teachings. He criticized business people who, quote, call themselves Christians and yet make weapons. He says it's a misreading of the passage in Genesis that gives mankind dominion over the earth to say it justifies strip mines. One critic compared his writings to the Unabomber Manifesto and said his Twitter feed sounds like an ex-journalist tweaking on Red Bull. So what is the Pope up to? More after this from Charlie. Paul Vallely wrote a biography of Pope Francis entitled Untying the Knots, and he says you have to remember that this Pope once ministered in the slums of Buenos Aires.
I mean, he said he wants a poor church for the poor. His whole background of working with the people in the slums for 18 years has given him a view that the church needs to be with poor people.
And as to the charge that he is too liberal for the Catholic Church?
He's not actually concerned with whether somebody is a conservative or a liberal. He's concerned with whether they have human warmth and a pastoral relationship with their flock. He uses the metaphor that a shepherd should smell of his sheep.
Which is why he is now busy promoting a new generation of cardinals to keep the Catholic Church on this course long after he's gone.
If he can bring in all these different cardinals from third world countries to bring different voices into the church and not promote all the people who are expecting to be made cardinals in the US and in Europe, he can change the complexion in a way which lets the genie out of the bottle a little.
The Pope's bottom line, according to author Paul Vallely, it's hypocrisy to say you love God while ignoring the needs of human beings and ruining the ecosystems that human beings need to survive. The Osgood File, Dave Ross on the CBS Radio Network.
Are you working harder than ever at your job, but find yourself getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare, having someone else raise your children? With our free information, you can lead a happier life, work from home, and start earning money as soon as next week.
I was a traditional business owner, and our business was affected greatly by the economy, so we were looking for another income stream. It allowed me to actually walk away from a 16-year career and part owner in a traditional business just after 8 months.
Go to freedom105.com. Get out of the rat race, work from home, and start earning great money as soon as next week.
I'm a single mom. Before this business, I was over $90,000 in credit card debt alone. And now we go to Disneyland, Disney World. We've been on vacations to Hawaii. I never could have done that before this business.
Go to freedom105.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom105.com. Freedom105.com. And start earning great money as soon as next week.
Like to spend a few days in another world? Then write this down. Golden Bear Cottages, Big Bear Lake. Now, listen, this is not some corporate-owned operation. It's family-owned and operated by some real nice people. Unique? Oh, you bet. Golden Bear Cottages features 28 one-of-a-kind cabins on a 5-acre historic site. Great for families, couples, and groups. And cabins are available with 1 to 7 bedrooms. Golden Bear Cottages is just a stone's throw from Big Bear Lake and super close to 3 great ski areas. Now, I could go on all day about Golden Bear Cottages in Big Bear, but to see everything, just go to goldenbear.net. Again, goldenbear.net. Golden Bear Cottages in Big Bear. Clean, comfortable, and affordable. Check them out. goldenbear.net.
Art Bell is back, and he's coming to KCAA.
There are a lot of people who think that we are Martians, that there's a strong possibility that we are Martians. That's why I said us. No, I'm serious. There was a civilization on Mars. That life had been us or our ancestors.
Nobody is more captivating than Art Bell.
Now, I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, there is something here that defies logical explanation.
Tune into the best. Midnight in the Desert with Art Bell.
The only way you're going to get the American people to pony up the billions of dollars, however many hundreds of billions it would be to go to Mars, the only way you're going to get them to do that is to convince them that we have a real reason to go.
Want to take a ride?
Coming July 20th. Weeknights at midnight on KCAA, 1050 AM.
Other talk stations use words like savage. Sounds brutal. Hey, it's all good. Your superstation, AM 1050, News Talk KCAA.
Hey! What the? Honey! The water just stopped in here.
They turned it off because you're wasting water.
What? What are you talking about?
You know.
Because you know it's all about that drought, no water. It's all about that drought, no water. It's all about that drought, no water. It's all about that drought, drought. Yeah, it's pretty clear, we're really short on blue. It's time to save it, like we're supposed to do. Some say it's doom, gloom, and all our grass must go. But together we can make it and enjoy our golden state. It's all about that drought, no water. It's all about that drought, no water. It's all about that drought, no water. It's all about that drought.
That's right. It's all about the drought. Welcome, Southern Californians, to the Water Zone on KCAA, 1050 AM in beautiful downtown San Bernardino. I'm Rob Starr, along with Green Industry Hall of Fame inductee and seasoned professional, I have to say, Mr. Mike Barron. And we're here to help you separate the facts from the myths about water during this drought condition.
Absolutely. You know, our goal with this program is to inform our listeners, educate, and then motivate. I want to educate you about the severity of the current drought. You know, it's really very serious. And the more you know about it, the more you know what others are doing about it, I think the more motivated you'll be to do something yourself. And we'll come up with some interesting new ideas. We'll share with you some interesting perspectives and facts about what's going on. We'll also have some special guests who are experts in their field and who will share with us their particular interests, their particular responsibilities in helping California get through this drought. And we're going to invite you to call in with questions.
Well, Mike, you know, first we should begin, but I want to make sure you know the rules of the broadcasting.
Okay.
Okay, now you got to really understand this. What's the number one rule in broadcasting?
Be short and pithy.
No dead air.
Okay.
Okay, so when you have dead air, you have to sing. Can you sing?
No, I can't.
Oh, we're in trouble.
Okay.
Anyway, so today we have some good guests coming in. We have Ryan McManus. He's the Water Conservation Manager for Firstside Public Utilities. We have an interview with Senator Fran Pavley. She's chair of the Natural Resources Board. And we also have a gentleman named Eric from Valley Soil, and he'll be here also tell you what he does. So anyway, give you the call-in numbers. If you're local, please call in and say hi at 909-888-5222. And if you're outside the 909 area code, do 888-909-1050. So let's go into some water topics of the week. And we're fixing a microphone issue that we have here on the right side. And we're going to talk about the water topic of the week. And as soon as Mike gets his mic on working, we'll start in.
All right, I am back and ready to go. So, Rob, you know, I would say this week there's good news and there's bad news. So first, the bad news. There are over 2,000 households today in the state of California that do not have any running water in their home. Can you imagine if you went home and you couldn't turn on the shower, you couldn't get water out of the sink, faucet, not to mention the toilet. I mean, that's pretty serious, in my opinion. And 2,000 Californians have that challenge right now. So that's the bad news. That's how serious this drought is. And, you know, it's not going to rain all that much between now and October. So the bottom line is we've all got to do our part to be as judicious with what water we do use. Now, the good news is the state of California in the month of April saved or reduced their total consumption of water by 13.5%. So basically what we're talking about is making good progress towards the goal of reducing water usage by 25% in the entire state of California. So that's the good news. People are starting to realize just how severe this drought is, just how much we all have to try to do individually. And I'm excited that Ryan McManus from the Riverside Public Utilities is here, because he's been working on conservation for not just this year, but for many, many years prior to that. So Ryan, welcome.
Thank you so much, guys. Again, I'm Ryan McManus. I'm the Water Conservation Coordinator at Riverside Public Utilities. And I really appreciate you guys having me in here today. Thank you.
So Ryan, tell us a little about your coverage area for RPU. How big is it? What do you guys cover?
So, you know, we're actually a fairly large service territory. Riverside is the 12th largest city in the state of California. We have about 300,000 people that live in our community, and we cover nearly 90 square miles of geography. Of that, there's about 65,000 water customers that we have in our utility, and we have about 110 electric meters in our utility.
So I know you guys are involved in the drought every single day, and it's got to be of great concern to all your customers. So what actions is RPU taking to fight the drought, and what are your customers thinking about that?
So we've been tasked with a pretty large feat. We've been asked by the State Water Resources Control Board to reduce our citywide consumption by 28%. So the mandate's placed on the utility. It's not an individual mandate, but we will not be able to get to a 28% reduction unless all of our customers in our community adopts an attitude of conservation and is willing to chip in and cut where they can.
So what programs have you instituted in the last, because I know you started rebate programs and other things a couple of years ago because you saw this coming and you wanted to get ahead of the curve.
Yeah, we've been actually fortunate because Riverside's a little unique in the water world, and what makes us unique is we sit on and control all of our own water supply. So that being said, we've actually had water conservation programs for nearly 15 years now, and we started out with toilets and sink aerators, and slowly but surely have moved into offering, a pretty large portfolio of rebate programs now. And I'm really proud to say that over the last 15 years of us doing rebate programs, we've saved a little over 12.5 billion with a B gallons of water. And so that's enough water for 80,000 families for an entire year. So, I'm proud of our efforts.
So that way Riverside can build their infrastructure and continue growing. It's never going to slow down.
Correct. I mean, we do. We although we control our water supply, it is limited. And if we want to continue to grow, we have to continue to look at where we can provide new resources. And one of the easiest resources to provide is conservation. And so a gallon not used on somebody's property can be used somewhere else. And so we've instituted quite a few of our measures, and quite a few of our programs have been rolling now for the last 4 years that have really produced a lot of water savings. We've been lucky enough to have Toro located within our service territory, and so we've partnered with Toro on many, many projects throughout the years. One of them that I'm proud to talk about today is a program that we offer with Toro products, and it's actually installed by one of your guests that you're going to have today here on the show, Eric Anderson from Valley Soil. We offer a program called the Smart Irrigation Program. Smart Irrigation Program is a program in which RPU targets our highest water users. And what we do is we go out and we offer to change out their sprinkler controllers to a weather-based irrigation controller. And we're able to leverage a another program, which is the free sprinkler nozzles program, to provide free nozzles, free high efficient nozzles to our customers.
So about the free sprinkler nozzles, how did that come to be? I understand you guys were the ones who helped develop that.
Yeah, again, we're, not every city, not every utility is lucky enough to have a sprinkler manufacturer in their service territory. But several years ago, one of my coworkers, actually, he's moved on since, he woke up in the middle of the night with a dream, literally woke up out of a dream. And what he wanted to do is he wanted to offer, Toro had just recently released a new nozzle, and it's called the Toro Precision Nozzle. And what's unique about this nozzle is a customer can do a one-for-one exchange with their current nozzle. They don't have to touch their controller. They literally just unscrew one nozzle and screw the new one in, and immediately can save between 20 and 30%, depending on what their water pressure is. And in our arid climate, we know that about 60 to 70% of a customer's water usage goes outdoors. And so for us to be able to collaborate with a local manufacturer and then another sister water district, Western Municipal Water District, we were able to provide, to build, and to implement a website. It's called freesprinklernozzles.com. And what's really great about it is anybody whose water district participates in this program can log on. They can watch instructional videos on how to do the actual retrofit, print out a voucher and take the voucher down to a store, and at no cost to the customer, they're completely free. They can pick up 25 free high-efficiency nozzles if they're a resident, and 100 plus if they're a commercial customer, and do the retrofit themselves.
Well, if you're a resident and you need more than the 25, can you go to this other rebate program they have, SoCalWatersmart.com?
Absolutely. You can. There's actually a couple places you could go. You could visit our website, greenriverside.com. We actually offer the nozzle rebates themselves, or if you have a particular unique situation, we're able to work with you on a one-on-one basis.
I know you mentioned that you use or have implemented multiple programs, look at different aspects to dealing with the drought. So one of the things I've seen is a lot of these street medians of grass that have turned pretty brown. And
correct.
And I understand that the State Water Resources Control Board for the state of California has basically said during this drought emergency, all city medians that have turf should not be watered. Is that what you understand as well?
Yeah, and I'll clarify that just a little bit. They cannot be irrigated with drinking water or potable water. And so there are some areas that if a resident drives by and sees a green median, chances are that that's being irrigated by recycled water.
Excellent.
But you're absolutely right. It's now illegal in the state of California to irrigate street medians.
Well, when you put it in perspective in terms of farmers being able to grow food for us to eat, or fire departments being able to use water to put out a fire.
Yep.
You've got to put those things during this emergency into perspective. So I think most of us can agree that makes some sense.
It makes perfect sense. I mean, the opportunity cost is just too high to irrigate grass that nobody ever walks on, and to forego using that water in a more productive manner.
And right. I think you can extend that also to these really small, narrow bands of turf. There, as a manufacturer, I know Toro has said, hey, those are tough to water unless you're using subsurface drip irrigation. And it seems to me that that's a great place to use another program that I think RPU has, which is turf removal program. Can you talk about that a bit?
Yeah, correct. And let me just add on a little bit, Mike, to your first thought, is that as cities are looking at areas where they can use water in a better manner somewhere else on their facilities, I urge all customers and residents to have that same thought process. If I don't need to use the water here, I can use it over on this part of my property where I actually really need it. And so that is what a lot of the basis for our turf removal program is we're asking folks both businesses and residents and institutions. If the only time that you're walking on your turf is to mow it or fertilize it, then chances are there's better use for that area than just growing grass. Because grass, especially the grass that is in most of our service territory, is really meant to live on the East Coast, where it's cooler and it's wetter.
Yeah, they call that cool season turf grass, right? Because
Correct.
it's going to stay green all season long. On the other hand, horticulturalists will tell us that with warm season turf grass, you'll get the green color in the late spring and all during the summer and early fall, and then it goes dormant, and you actually can save 20 to 25% of the amount of water and still have the benefits of a turf landscape.
Correct, and that's a really important point, and I wanted to get to that. Is all turf is not evil.
That's right. It's not a four-letter word.
It's not a four-letter word. Although I guess it is a four-letter word.
Yeah, but not that kind of four-letter word. It's another kind of four-letter word.
There's absolutely appropriate uses, and to your point, there's appropriate turf for our region, and in that, there's appropriate methodology and appropriate equipment that you're supposed to use to irrigate that turf, and that's why we've gotten behind using some of the weather-based irrigation controllers that Toro produces, and we've used our high-efficiency sprinkler nozzles because, again, we're not anti-turf. What we are is we're anti-waste.
Yeah, that's a good way. And here, before we close this section, is there anything, Rob, that you want to add to this, or?
Yeah, I think having an irrigation system is important to some or a lot of people, but there's things they need to know. One, it's the design of how it was put in and what's it doing. Two, the maintenance of it. That's very important, because if people don't understand it and manage that, it's just like your car and you don't put oil in or something else, it's going to go bad. I mean, we've all taken steps to reduce water. If you take a look at the water that we have in our homes, I'm sure, Mike, you've done a lot of stuff, turning the water off when you brush your teeth, to cutting the showers. A lot of people have regular water heaters instead of the new type, the tankless ones that automatically deliver the heat. Mike and I were at a show a couple of years ago, and it was kind of interesting. They had a bottle of stuff. I don't remember the name of it.
Oh, it's a organic solution, high concentration solution that you could spray into your commode.
Yeah, kind of like a potpourri. But the problem was, at least we both got bottles of samples. They gave it to us, and Mike took his home. I took my home, and I brought it in. My wife says, "What's this?" And I tell her what it is, and she says, "So the rule is you use the toilet all day long. Everybody can use the toilet, but they don't flush it. And every time you use it, you just do 1 or 2 sprays of this thing, and you leave it there until you go to bed, and then you do the flush." And I don't know about at Mike's home, but I know my wife says, "You ain't bringing that here." It's like having a porta potty.
Hey, Rob, who wears the pants in your family?
My wife.
Okay, well, at least you're honest about it. But I had a struggle with my wife, a little discussion there. But now that it's a drought emergency, she has embraced some of these water-saving approaches, because that's how I think we need to do things that we've never done before that really aren't asking too much. We should see this as a effort that we're all being part of, that we're all trying to strive to get through to the next rainy season.
And one thing that I really would like to add is that your water utility desperately wants to work with you. We don't want to penalize you. We don't want to come after you and penalize you. We have programs to offer to assist. We have guidance to offer to assist. We're the experts, and the only way that we're able to communicate that to our customers, in most cases, is if customers reach out and try to participate in our programs.
I think that's something that's very important, because this applies to really any water agency that I've ever dealt with on a one-on-one basis. Is the desire to resolve the excessive water use in a mutually advantageous way. It's not just hammering people with, hey, here's a penalty, here's a citation.
Correct.
So that's a good message to close on, I think, of this discussion, and that is your water agency is your water-saving friend. So reach out.
Well, I get paid to help people. That's my perspective, and I know my colleagues feel the same way.
Excellent.
Well, one of the things, this is perfect segue, but Mike, how much do you enjoy your lawn?
I enjoy it a lot, especially since I have a 2.5-year-old grandson and a couple of dogs visiting.
I know a lot of people don't, think about, or they think about putting in artificial turf. And one of the things I recently found out that I was blown away by, the temperature of artificial turf can get as hot as asphalt. And
Actually, Rob, it's hotter than asphalt based on university testing. So you wonder, well, how can it get hotter than black asphalt? And that's because the surface area of the little blades, there's more surface area in the aggregate in a square foot of artificial turf. So use it, but understand that it's probably not the best place, especially for the Inland Empire with the kind of summers we have out here.
Yeah, not to have kids playing on it. I agree.
So.
Well, if you're worried about losing your lawn due to the latest drought mandates, a lot of people are afraid they have to get rid of everything. Our wonderful sponsor, Toro, would like to show you how effective their new WaterSmart products are, and they're really good at saving and maintaining a healthy landscape. So they're putting together a contest, which they gave to us, which we think is good. And Mike, you want to tell us a little about that?
Yeah, you bet. So it's called Save Your Lawn Contest. What we want to know is, why would you want to save your lawn? Tell us with a couple of pictures and no more than 300 words. Submit that to us.
And we're counting the words.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, in this case, less is more. The fewer words, more precise, the more we'll like it. But, we want to know out there, why is it that you enjoy your lawn? Why would you want to save your lawn versus having to take it out and put in some other type of landscape? And of course, you've got the backyard, perhaps for your play area. Yep. Front yard, more drought tolerant landscaping with water saving drip irrigation. But yeah, let us know. Let us hear.
Well, to our listeners, it's really simple to do. Just go to the following website, toro.com/waterzone to enter. It's real simple. It's a one-page thing. You just enter your name, a couple words, put a picture in, send it to us. And the contest is open to and valid for KCAA 1050 listeners.
Yeah, and basically what the sponsors have agreed to do is to send out a professional contractor to assess your lawn and then to identify water-saving products that will reduce your water consumption for outdoor landscaping a good 30%, and you can save that lawn as well. So it's a neat program.
Okay. Well, let's take a little break here, and thanks for joining at KCAA 1050 AM. We'll be back shortly.
Art Bell is back, and he's coming to KCAA.
There are a lot of people who think that we are Martians, that there's a strong possibility that we are Martians. That's why I said us. No, I'm serious. There was a civilization on Mars. That life had been us or our ancestors.
Nobody is more captivating than Art Bell.
Now, I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, there is something here that defies logical explanation.
Tune into the best. Midnight in the Desert with Art Bell.
The only way you're going to get the American people to pony up the billions of dollars, however many hundreds of billions it would be to go to Mars, the only way you're going to get them to do that is to convince them that we have a real reason to go.
Want to take a ride?
Coming soon. Weeknights at midnight on KCAA 1050 AM.
It's time for some Dillylicious food at Pizza Dilly. Pizza Dilly Pizza in Colton, home of the famous 2-foot pizza with 32 slices of simply the best Dillylicious Pizza Dilly mouth-watering pizza. Pizza Dilly has all kinds of lunch specials Monday through Friday, starting at $3.99, all Dillylicious. Stop by, refresh, refuel, have a cold drink, enjoy a tasty salad or a great specialty Dillylicious sub sandwich, or simply Dillylightful Pizza Dilly wings. Pizza Dilly is also People Dilly because your friends are all already there enjoying one of Pizza Dilly's giant screens, watching one of their favorite teams. And if you love the Dodgers, you'll love Pizza Dilly, your hometown Dodger station all year round. Come on in, enjoy a great pizza, enjoy Pizza Dilly, the real Dilly deal at 194 East Valley Boulevard in Colton, or call 909-370-0242. Once again, that's 909-370-0242.
Welcome back to the Water Zone. Appreciate everybody listening in. And we've been lucky enough to catch up with California State Senator Fran Pavley yesterday. And we were hoping she'd be on the show. And she will be, except it's going to be recorded. She's flying at this moment back to Calabasas. So I want you to hear what we had our conversation with yesterday. Welcome back to the Water Zone with Mike Barron and myself, Rob Starr, on KCAA 1050 AM. Our next guest, California State Senator Fran Pavley, is no stranger to protecting our water in California. She recently led the charge for Senate Bill SB 248, which will require regulators to boost controls over the petroleum industry's disposal of potentially tainted water being injected into the ground aquifers. A little bit about the senator, and I don't mean to embarrass her, but she earned a master's degree in environmental planning at Cal State Northridge. That's my old alma mater, so I appreciate that. And actually, it was San Fernando Valley State College when I went there the first time. Taught middle school for 28 years. In 1982, became the first mayor of Agoura Hills. She served 4 terms on the city council. In 2000, elected to the California State Assembly and served 3 terms, and elected to the California State Senate in 2008. Senator Pavley currently serves as the chair of the Senate Natural Resources and Water Committee, and also chairs the Select Committee on Climate Change and Assembly Bill 32 implementation and participation in various other Senate committees. So welcome to the show, Senator Pavley.
Thank you very much.
So to start off, I just want to get some information and learn some expertise from you. What are some of the issues that your committee is addressing regarding water?
Well, I chair the Natural Resources and Water Committee for the State Senate. We have several members on the committee that represent different areas of the state. And just for your listeners to know, water is the most challenging political issue and complex issue the state is facing because it's a geographic issue. It has to do with property rights, especially in groundwater basins and the overlying property owners and how much water they get. It's extremely challenging on how you manage water, who gets it, how much should the North give the South, really complex issues, very exciting, and I'm glad to and honored to be chair of this committee. So this year in particular, with our 4th year of regular drought, we're focusing on a variety of issues. One is the implementation of our state's first Groundwater Management Sustainable Act. We'll be managing our groundwater basins. We're also focusing on distributing Proposition $1. That was the voter-approved initiative from last year that invests money in water quality and water supply. So we're talking a lot about that. We're looking at different ways to use, for example, money from cap and trade from energy, operating more energy efficient water services. For example, 20% of all the energy we use in the state is moving and treating water. Can we make some better investments in water conservation and water solutions that help us manage water regionally, and with that save on energy costs as well as providing more sustainable water supply? So all these different issues are coming together, very interesting times. And as you mentioned in the beginning, we're also looking at possible contaminations of groundwater basins, particularly in the Central Valley and the Kern County area, from waste disposal wells from oil operations, and looking at whether they have contaminated or are likely to contaminate some groundwater basins.
Well, that does sound like a very broad area to be investigating and researching, and it's good to have someone with your background and expertise involved.
one of the things you mentioned was groundwater management solutions. And we'd like to know, does California today have groundwater management districts or agencies that are managing the state's groundwater?
Well, there aren't necessarily separate groundwater management agencies, but there are 515 groundwater basins in the state of California. And I know Riverside gets some of their water from their groundwater supply, and they're managed in all different ways. Many of the basins, in fact, I believe it's 23 of them, have gone through what we call an adjudication process, where the courts have determined how much water there is and how much water each of the overlying property owners is entitled to. So they are managing their groundwater basin. Hopefully they're not taking out a lot more than is going back in, or they're going to be left with overdraft problems, which could lead to water quality problems. And in the Central Valley, we're seeing subsidence as well. And so what the measure I passed and was signed into law by Governor Brown did was for those basins that had not been adjudicated through the courts, so that you could determine how much was everyone's legal right to a certain amount of water in that particular basin. We're focusing on those basins that are in severe distress. We call them high and medium priority basins, where they are literally running out of water. They've taken out way more than can be replenished. So in that case, those basins that are under high degree of stress, people will have to start forming their own groundwater management agencies. Then they have to develop a groundwater management plan. They'll have to determine how much everyone gets, and when the level of the groundwater basin goes down, you have to adjust how much everyone's gets. It's been the Wild West in California. In many parts of the state, whoever has the deepest well can get the most water. And people that can't compete in what I call the race to the bottom are literally left high and dry. In fact, I have on my desk a map showing that in the Tulare County area, as of last week, there's 1,281 households without access to well water. They are out of water, and the state of California now has to ship in or truck in huge containers of water so people can just meet their basic needs.
Yeah, I don't think those of us that are in larger urban communities realize just how severe this drought is, that people that used to go to their tap to get water, there's just nothing there, just nothing at all. So the kind of work that's being done and that you're overseeing seems to me very, very important. Now, speaking of water and the quality of water, I've heard this term of fracking. I think I know what it's about, but how would you describe the process of hydraulic fracking? What's that about?
Well, that's an enhanced oil recovery method and new technologies that oil companies are doing so they can drill deep underground. They use a combination of 95% water, some chemicals, several of them very toxic, and a small amount of sand to free up captured oil that's laying deep under the Earth's surface. They can then pump it out of the ground. So this is through what the area of the state that has Monterey Shale, so the right kinds of rocks that would allow access to it. So this new technology, large, high-volume, high-pressure injections of water with chemical and sand can free up oil. We have regulations in place, and you can go to your computer right now, look under the Department of Conservation, and look under the word fracking or enhanced oil recovery, and you can see where wells are being fracked, what chemicals are being used, where they're getting the water, and how they're disposing of the waste fluids. It's all public information because of a new law that was passed. I had authored it a couple of years ago, and 97% of all the wells being fracked are in Kern County. Very few are in other areas of the state. So I want to let your listeners know that. But here's the challenge. In Kern County, you have an interesting combination of a lot of oil wells. You also have a lot of agricultural lands. And they rely on, in Kern County and a lot of the Central Valley, they rely on the snowpack of the high Sierras to replenish their dams and surface water storage areas, and also to replenish their groundwater basins. The last thing you want to do is have those waste disposal wells contaminate any of their groundwater basins. Those are called aquifers. Any contamination of water that's being used for drinking water or agricultural purposes, you certainly don't want damage. The Environmental Protection Agency, the federal government, came in last fall and said that several of the oil waste disposal wells, not the ones that have been fracked, but the other ones for traditional oil drilling or cyclic steam injection and other enhanced oil recovery methods, some of those wells for waste disposal fluids are in protected aquifers. They should not have been allowed to be put there. So now the state is very involved with our state water board assisting our Department of Oil and Gas in analyzing and reviewing those waste disposal wells to make sure that they have not contaminated our groundwater basins. So between the drought and fracking, this is very challenging times.
You know, what do they say? Ignorance is bliss. I think most of us don't realize just how much is involved in going on. But with respect to this fracking process, do you have a sense that there is some contamination of our underground aquifers or groundwater basins? Do you think that's happening? Is there a way to know that that's happening or not?
We have no evidence that that is happening. I did mention the last indication of 2,500 wells that possibly could be contaminated with. That's from traditional waste disposal injections by oil companies, not fracked wells. But regarding fracked wells, a relatively new technology that's been around for a few years, starting in 2014, we're documenting where every well is and notifying property owners and know exactly what chemicals. So the purpose of that is creating the transparency to follow those chemicals in the event that they leak into any groundwater basins. These wells should not be in areas with groundwater basins, but sometimes, as you know, water has the way of moving or maybe breaking out of the structure of the well, and the integrity is lost of the well, and it could leak out into groundwater basins. So we have to be very, very careful, and our state water board and regional water boards, who traditionally focus on protecting water quality, are now partners, if you will, with the state agencies that regulate oil drilling.
Very good. And I know you mentioned the Department of Conservation for the state of California, that all of the information about what chemicals are being used in the fracking process, and a lot of transparency there. So if anyone's interested, they can go to that Department of Conservation or Google that and get that information. I think that transparency is very helpful.
And we were one of the first states to be able to have that up online with listing the specific chemicals used. That used to be what was called a trade secret, and I challenge the oil companies that if they have nothing to hide, then they need to be really forthcoming with the public and provide that information. So the way to prove that their fracking operations aren't contaminating the groundwater basin is to list those chemicals, and then we can see that they are not contaminating the groundwater basin. So we're relying on the integrity, structural integrity of the well casings and a variety of other things. Possible challenges over long term from seismic activity could become an issue. And I want to let you know that about the second week in July, we will have an independent study completed that is going to look at some of these issues related to fracking, as far as impacts related to earthquakes, or how do they affect water quality, or a whole variety of sources of concerns. How could they contaminate groundwater basins? But your listeners could look forward to being able to read and try to understand what a group of scientists are saying in reviewing our energy and water potential problems related to hydraulic fracking.
Well, that's great. I mean, one of the things of our objective of our show is to separate facts from the myths, and that's good to know. Switching, just last question here on Proposition 1 bond funds. Are they creating additional water supplies through recycling projects and stormwater capture?
That is one of my top priorities, because that would benefit almost any region in the state. And in fact, with Governor Brown signing of the budget today, there will be additional Prop 1 dollars coming out, and quite a bit of money coming towards local governments, local water agencies to implement water recycling programs. We're going to have to be smarter on how we use water. We can't use water just once anymore and throw it away. We're going to have to use it 2 or 3 times. So using treated wastewater minimally for landscaping purposes or industrial purposes is absolutely essential. And many cities, especially in Southern California area, are very interested in doing a better job at stormwater capture and reuse. Most people think of stormwater as a liability. I grew up in the San Fernando Valley, and you just put it in those big cement culverts and it got washed to the ocean. Now we look at it, especially in a drought, as an asset. And so you're going to see a lot of attempts made to do a better job at capturing the rain next time we do get a storm, and then reusing it either to replenish groundwater basins that have been diminished, or for using it and treating it for landscaping or other purposes.
Do you know of any regional solutions that people are doing now, or what they plan to do? Or
well, a lot of people are involved in what we call almost just conservation efforts. Most urban areas, 70% of the water we use is on landscaping, so we're going to have to be smarter in how we use water. And so landscaping is one of those areas where we have to do a better job. The other thing is we're going to be putting some exciting new opportunities and rebates for more water-efficient appliances that will be available to consumers, whether it's a water and energy-efficient washing machine or dishwasher or low-flow toilets. There's going to be some rebate or reduction in prices to encourage the public that this might be a good time to invest in a more modern washing machine or dishwasher.
Okay. I heard that, just as a note, that in 2014, at least the rain year, that the state of California was able to achieve the gallons per capita per day figure that we were challenged with back in 2010 in the 20 by 2020 challenge, and we have to do more, and we're here trying to let folks know about more opportunities to reduce water consumption, reduce that water footprint, and so we really appreciate your providing this insight and information about what's going on with the state of California and our natural resources.
Well, I want to thank you for having a radio show focusing on this issue. We're finding out this is the number one issue in the state of California right now. It's the drought and how to do a better job at managing our water supply. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And our words to our listeners are be smart, be water smart. Anyway, thank you, Senator Pavley, for joining with us, and hope you have a good evening.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. All right, we're going to take a little break here and be right back, and we got some prizes. And if you're trying to call in, we got 2 lines open left, and we're giving away some prizes. So give us a call.
Slam the door on FeePay. Forget everything you know about selling online, because I'm here to tell you about a new and revolutionary way to buy and sell on the internet. BuySellMakeOffer.com is here to shake up the web. Tired of paying those outrageous fees? You'll never pay a fee with BuySellMakeOffer.com. For a monthly membership package starting at only $7.95, you can list and sell up to 50 items. That would cost you nearly $100 with the other guys. Go right now to BuySellMakeOffer.com and sign up today.
Attention teachers, nurses, social workers, government employees, police officers, and firefighters. If you are still paying on student loans, then get ready for a special announcement. Your entire student loan can be forgiven. You heard correctly. Broadsword Student Advantage has free information on how you can potentially have the remaining balance of your student loan debt completely forgiven. We can help anyone with student loans potentially cut their payments in half, reduce their interest rate, or consolidate their outstanding loan. But if you are a teacher, nurse, social worker, government employee, police officer, or firefighter, you have the added benefit of potentially having your student loan completely forgiven. Call now for free information to find out how. Call 800-481-2993. That's 800-481-2993. Don't waste another payment on your old student loans. Call for your free information now. 800-481-2993. That's 800-481-2993.
KCAA.
I just had a meeting with the chief engineer at the station. He's fixed all the microphone problems that we had, so we apologize for that. Again, if you're trying to call in, please do. We're going to give away a 12-station smart irrigation controller, value of $400. And we're going to pick, of all the lights that are lighting up here, we're going to pick one. So I'm kind of laughing at that because I want to get a good winner here. The numbers to call in if you're local in the 909 area, 888-5222. If you're outside that area, at long distance, is 888-909-1050. Anyway, we're back, and we have a guest here named Eric Anderson, and he's the owner of Valley Soil, and they're a water conservation company. So welcome, Eric, to the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Rob and Mike. I appreciate you bringing me here, and it's my honor to represent the heroes in the trenches who make water conservation happen.
Well, we appreciate that, and you're definitely one of those. So for the listening audience, just tell us who's Valley Soil, what do they do?
Well, we are a water conservation company. Our only goal is to help customers save water, and we manage this through agencies and phone calls and marketing and everything else. We've actually helped over 20,000 customers, and we're saving about 2 million gallons of water per year.
And you're based here in the Inland Empire.
Yeah, absolutely. We're down in Temecula, but we come all the way out. We go out to the desert. We go all the way to Ventura and all the way to San Diego.
No, I know you get contracted by a lot of the major water agencies around the counties here. What do you actually do for them, and why, and what service do you provide them and the customer?
Well, generally what they do is provide us with a list of their high water users, and from that list, then we will actually direct market them and try to get them excited and interested into taking advantage of the programs that the agencies offer. We come out and we do a water audit. We do an evaluation of their site. We go ahead and take a look to see how they're using water. We determine what may be the best products for them, and we help them with the best management practices.
And what do you consider an audit, so people understand what that means?
An audit is actually taking a hard, educated look at the way that you're using water and the way that the water is being applied. We're taking a look for inconsistencies. We're taking a look for bad spray patterns. We're taking a look for dry spots. We're taking a look at runoff. We're taking a look at anything that can actually impact the amount of water that a customer uses.
Now, I understand that your team, including you, are what's called CLII, Certified Landscape Irrigation Auditor. And why is that important for customer when you go out and see them versus a regular mow and blow kind of person?
This is a great question, and we get it all the time. These are credentialed specialists, and what they do is they provide an outside and unbiased view of your water use and how well you're applying it. What they do at the back end of this is they suggest best management practices, recommend upgrades, recommend controllers, nozzles, anything that you can use to conserve water, and they give you choices and options so you can make the best decision for this. These specialists should be able to manage your water, and what we like to tell our customers is that if you're going to build a home, you don't hire the contract first, you need a plan, and these are the guys that can give you the plan.
Super. Well, when you talk about water management and identifying inefficiencies in the existing sprinkler system, is that very common?
Very much so. There's generally no system that's tight enough to be worthy of not doing anything.
Well, I know in my own case, and I've been embarrassed to admit this, but this about 4 years ago, before the drought, all of a sudden my water bill doubled. And I thought, what in the world is going on? And that's when I took a look and I turned on every zone of my sprinkler system, and I discovered a valve that was just leaking water, and it was almost swamp back there. I thought to myself, if I just turned on the system and checked things out, I probably could have found that problem a month earlier or 2 months earlier and not have that high water bill.
Right, that is something that we recommend, Mike, is that a homeowner or customer, even commercial property, once a week actually does walk around and turn every valve on. Now, you don't have to turn it on for longer than a minute, but you have to turn it on long enough to where you can identify the problems. And we generally recommend that you put flags or golf tees or something there so you can have your gardener, or you can come back and fix it when you find it.
Excellent. Well, I know for a fact that your company has visited hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of sites. Share with us maybe something unusual that you've seen that was unexpected when you checked out the sprinkler system.
The most interesting of all is we got a call from a customer in Corona, and we were asked to come out and check their sprinkler controller because it wasn't working and it was making a noise. Well, they had the controller inside their home at the head of their bed. So this was making a noise all night long. So we actually had to move the controller outside.
Oh my gosh. That's talk about having a friend at the bedside, right? So
yeah.
That's amazing.
It would drive them crazy. We've seen a lot. We've seen some good stuff too. My neighbor, for example, calls himself water conscious, and he just put in 10,000 square feet of cool season turf, and he's manually watering it with a hose end sprinkler.
Wow. And nothing beats a person out there, just managing the water on a minute-by-minute basis, but I don't know. It just seems, I guess if you're retired, that might make sense, but otherwise, that's probably not the most efficient way to manage your system.
And 10,000 square feet for anybody is just, is huge.
So where can somebody get a hold of you?
You can get a hold of us either at www.valleysoil.com, or you can call us at our 800 number, which is 888-268-1009. You can go to savewater@valleysoil.com, or you can call us direct at 951-767-2215.
Great. And on the contest, just so everybody knows, Eric's going to be the one that we're sending out to the winner, who's going to scope out your system and help us get this thing installed. Again, please go to www.toro.com/waterzone to enter the contest. And again, we're giving away a $400 controller to anybody who calls in. So we appreciate it. We're going to pick it in a minute here, and we'll call that back on surprise. So thanks for joining the first show. Hope it was good. We're going to be more informative with great guests as we go on. So everybody have a good evening.
Thank you. We'll see you next week.
Thank you very much.
6 p.m. Thursday.
Be there.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, love, laugh, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Fay.
Every Thursday night at 7 on KCAA, NBC News Radio, AM 1050.
You're on board KCAA's Inland Talk Express. KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 AM, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Do you have a broken window or rock chip on your vehicle that needs repair? Give us a call at HM Auto Glass, 951-858-5190. HM Auto Glass is your locally owned and operated auto glass specialist, offering low cost and high quality auto glass repair and replacement. We also work with all major insurance companies and offer free mobile service. So call us, 951-858-5190. That number again is 951-858-5190.
Neither rain, sleet, nor snow, nor even the likelihood that he'd be killed could stop this letter carrier from making his appointed rounds. Doug Hughes is one gutsy mailman. In April, this rural letter carrier from Florida embarrassed Washington's haughty security hierarchy and threw members of Congress into chaotic panic by boldly flying